Hello everybody, it's your non-binary podcast TV here, and it's time to reintroduce another character who's connected to another one that I've talked about lots before. Quick context, I've been working on some story concepting featuring a bunch of characters that I can't really put into gateways, and it's become something that I really want to pursue one day and turn into an animated series. But right now, I don't have the time or knowledge for that, but I do want to share the main characters with everyone in the meantime. So I actually made a new Tumblr Ask blog where you can see all of their character info and you can ask questions about them, which I'll try to answer through mini comics. I'll also be posting about them on all my other socials, of course. Please be respectful about the questions you ask, but you can go ahead and check that out if you want. Two of those characters are my favorite, the pink vampire Lie and the demon that won't leave him alone, Lucid. Also, yes, I did redesign Lie a little bit, but I'll talk about that in an upcoming speed page. So it's important to note that I have actually talked about this character before, but it was soon after I made that video that I completely changed their concept. Their new concept was actually one that I had stolen from another character since I was kind of having a hard time writing that one. You can watch that first video about Lucid if you want to know of what their original concept was going to be, but it's not their canon at all anymore. Here is the, for now, official version of Lucid. The original concept for Lucid's design came from a TikTok, the Create a Monster OC challenge, and I have talked about that before. It was from that most of Lucid's main elements came from. The horns, the little fur things on their arms and legs, their hair and eye color, but the markings and mouth were just stuff I made up in their very first design. In that first design, I also gave them some like this harness thing, floating eyes, and pink skin. I then started playing around with different clothes when coming up with some of the concepts for this story, and I changed the skin color from this dusky pink to a purple. This was because when I started coloring them traditionally, I only had the fully rendered pieces I made for reference, and I guess I misinterpreted the color as purple. However, I ended up liking the purple color more, so that ended up being their new skin color. After deciding they were just going to be a demon, that also came with a lot of changes, both for the demon aspect and just because I thought that they would fit them better. I gave them a different color for the underside of their hair, an actual outfit which fits the suit theme for the other characters, and I got to change their main symbol. For so long it was this weird symbol, but I always used this swirl shape for my demon characters. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. But I was able to change it to that, and I changed their markings and the shape of their eye. Speaking of, I'm not really including the whole floating eyes aspect anymore, since I think their new self has plenty of other weird traits, including being able to not have eyes whenever they want to. So yeah, I changed their horns to this cyan color that they have throughout their design, and gave the end of their tail an eye shape. And they also can change their horns and tail to a drippy halo and demonic wings. I also thought it would be cool if they could change their color palette, so they have a red and grayscale one and a pink and purple one. Now to talk about why any of that means anything. So like I said, Lucid is a demon. Like a lot of demons, they have their own domain of power, which is all of reality. This means that they can do whatever they want and affect and change any part of reality as they choose. Now, of course, that does sound overpowered, and it is. However, luckily for everyone in this world, they don't make massive changes all the time, and they mostly just use their powers to mess with people. Now, that does change when they get mad, and they're not good by any means, but they're not outright evil at all. Very neutral. Lucid is very much a chaos gremlin and very dramatic, so they're great at playing up their true emotions. It's kind of a hiding mechanism, I guess. Not a hiding mechanism, coping mechanism. That's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, Lucid overall is just very much the embodiment of chaotic, neutral as far as alignments go. And talk a little bit about their backstory. Lucid's story starts through a ritual involving the blood of the dead or dying in a demonic weapon. The demonic weapons are basically demons of a much more ancient time trapped within weapons, which can only be unsealed through a blood sacrifice because, duh. The blood belonged to a person of a species I'm working on, which also includes the name of the species, but for now we'll call them angels. This person worked for a corrupted system and was forced to do things like kill and destroy in the name of the system's mysterious plan. They thought going against orders would lead to them escaping, but unfortunately they were caught and killed as punishment. They were executed with their own weapon, which was actually a demonic weapon disguised as a normal spear. Once the blood had made contact with the spear and the angel died, the demonic properties were able to break free of the weapon, which transformed into Lucid. Since the first person they saw after becoming free was the angel, and they figured that they so graciously set them free of their own free will, they changed their form to look more like them as a form of thanks. And that is how their story started. A big thing with Lucid is that they are desperate for friends, but before meeting Lie, they never have been able to keep one. And the first time they ever quote-unquote lost a friend was when when the angel was finally buried. Since then, they have been wandering around and living different lives. Currently, they work with GUARD, an organization I'll talk about later, but for now, think of it as an anomaly hunting organization, which is kind of funny because they have Lucid, who's probably one of the biggest anomalies, but they're not officially an anomaly. And of course, I'll explore and share more about them on my various socials, but that is all for now. Now, for the artwork I've been working on this whole time, this is actually a redraw of an artwork I made of their first design. I changed the perspective to be a bird's eye perspective and added lots of chaotic effects, including trying to make the background look like shattered glass. I wanted to include all three of their color palettes, and if you remember from my vampire cookie video, which I actually just posted a couple of weeks ago, I had a hard time with doing this since I've been doing overpainting a lot lately, but I decided to bite the bullet on this one and did all three colors, and I did overpaint all of them. I overpainted once and then copy and pasted to meticulously change the colors. I don't recommend doing this. It kind of really sucked, but I also decided to make this a moving illustration, so I animated their eye blinking and changed which version of the illustration was visual on the timeline. And yeah, this actually didn't take me nearly as long as I thought it did. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this character. Like I said, if you want to find out more about them, you can check them out on my various social medias. And yeah, they're one of the newer characters I posted on my Art Fight account. Speaking of which, I will definitely be making a video about Art Fight this year. Now it's all said and done. It was kind of wild for me this year. So yeah, I'll definitely going to be making a video about that soon. And if you want to see that, you can subscribe and check that out. And you can also subscribe if you want to know more about these other characters in this lineup. Thank you again so much for Gibbous Strat for continuing to support me on Patreon. And if you want to see some exclusive content, including some stuff about demonic miracles that I have posted on there, you can check that out. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!